Fiji's debt levels is sustainable levels. This has also been confirmed by the credible international institutions like the IMF, World Bank, ADB, ANZ Bank, international credit rating agencies. Mr. Speaker, sir, I'd like to urge all Fijians, please, don't be misled by these people. Don't be misled by these people or the people outside. You can see the results on the ground. Mr. Speaker, sir, credible lenders like the World Bank, ADB, AIIB, JICA, and others are willing to lend 5 times more than what they did before. This simply means they have the confidence Fiji will be able to pay its debt, and debt levels are sustainable. No lender would lend to a person or country if they thought the borrower would not be able to repay back. Honorable Lalan Balawu claims that ADB has said that Fiji's debt is unsustainable. That's not true, Mr. Speaker, sir. So if it was true, why is ADB still lending to Fiji? They want to lend to us also in the native river. We said we don't want it because we have a difference in as to how we should mitigate those risks in regarding whether we should do dredging or build floodplains. Why would someone lend to you if you cannot pay back, Mr. Speaker, sir, Honorable Lalan Balawu, especially multilateral banks that are AAA rated by international credit rating agencies? Any restructuring of any sort would result in lower credit rating for them, for the multilateral banks. Yet they continue to lend to us. Opposition experts, so-called experts, can they explain this? They're all lying, Mr. Speaker, sir. These lenders don't listen to the critics here in Fiji because they focus on the truth and do not care about the politics, as they very well know what these opposition politicians are saying is not correct. Fijians also should not fall for these lies, Mr. Speaker, sir. Honorable Lalan Balawu said, oh, they're lending to Sri Lanka now. Yes, that's different. It's what you call a rescue package, rescue lending like they did in Greece. It has come after governments have been toppled. It has come after government changed a lot of prescriptive policies, austerity measures. They'll tell them to raise their VAT. They'll tell them to cut back on expenditure. They do it with all these prescriptions. Everybody knows that. They're not prescribing those to us, sir. They're not telling us to have these kind of austerity measures that they put in Greece or in Sri Lanka. So this is the kind of level of unsophisticated, non-nuanced analysis. Mr. Speaker, sir, measuring debt sustainability is a technical and complex issue, Mr. Speaker, sir. So anyone that takes a simplistic approach and talks about nominal debt or dollar value of debt, for example, $10 billion, is trying to mislead or scare us for their own interest. Simply saying that debt level has increased to $10 billion without looking at other factors holistically makes no sense. Let's take an example. Country A has a debt of US $88 billion and country B has a debt of US $976 billion. Country B, in this case, Mr. Speaker, sir, which is $976 billion, has almost 11 times more debt than country A. Somebody might tell you that country B is too much in debt. And if you just look at the nominal value of debt, and country A is in a much better position. But it's not true. Guess what? Country B is actually Australia. Country B, Australia, whose debt is highly sustainable, and country A is Sri Lanka. But Sri Lanka is in trouble. It's got lower debt value, only US $88 billion. Australia is US $976 billion. But we know that Australia is in a much better position. So again, this kind of rudimentary, basic kind of analysis, crass analysis, does not make sense. This kind of grab onto something. Oh, $10 billion debt. Mr. Speaker, sir, this is, Mr. Speaker, sir, a classic example to show that the nominal debt level don't tell you much. This is a classic case to show that the nominal debt levels don't tell you so much about debt sustainability. Sustainability is what matters. In the same way, if Honorable Prasad borrows because he's asset rich and he's cash rich too, he can repay his debt. No problem. He can borrow $2 million. He can still repay his debt. Mr. Speaker, sir, beware. Mr. Speaker, we have to tell members of the public that as soon as someone talks to you about nominal value of debt, he or she is either trying to scare you or probably don't understand about debt themselves.